welcome to the Masters of Sonic Liberation show number 27. Yeah, 27 months we've been toiling here, but 24 of them have been at Holyoke Media, which is where we are in beautiful downtown Holyoke, Massachusetts, with Scott McPherson doing all the tech stuff, and I am Bonnie Kane, and I'm your host for the show. I also get to play at the end, so stick around. But meanwhile, we have a night of 4 great acts for you, bringing you the best in avant-garde, experimental, forward-thinking, creative music and sound and words and all that sort of stuff. And I think that's all I need to say right now. Did I say it's February 26, 2026, show number 27? Okay, I've said that. Thank you for confirming that out there. And we have a physical audience, we have a virtual audience watching online, and we have a future audience. So we're working for the future, and we're working for now. All right, so first up, from New York City, I am thrilled to present the extraordinary bassist and extraordinary person, Hill Green.
Thank you, Bonnie.
You're welcome.
In 1619, slavery began in the USA. Abolitionists and Quakers were instrumental in helping slaves escape from the South to the North. The Underground Railroad was the most important way out of slavery leading up to the Civil War. Not a literal railway. The Underground Railroad was a network of people and places that offered refuge and legal aid to runaway slaves. Escapees hopped on and off as they made their way to free states and Canada. In this performance, I will be playing music based on the coded spirituals that runaways used to with their masters and elude capture. Some of the songs were related to Bible texts. It's important to note that the church was a center of the Negro's communal experience. Slaves were forbidden to learn to read and write, so singing songs was a way for slaves to communicate. Masters didn't grasp that their illiterate slaves were singing coded messages. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. Swing low, sweet chariot, coming for to carry me home. I looked over Jordan, and what did I see? A band of angels coming after me, coming for to carry me home. coded meaning, chariot drivers, Underground Railroad members are arriving. Be alert and ready to leave. Swing low, coming from the north to the south, from free states into slaveholding states. Sweet chariot, heavenly vehicle, members of the Underground Railroad, coming for to carry me home, coming to take me to heaven, coming to take me to a free state or Canada. I looked over Jordan. The Jordan equals the Mississippi or Ohio rivers. They bordered free states. A band of angels coming after me. Underground Railroad members coming to take you away, to take you to freedom. This presentation comes with a series of slides that I won't get into today, but sometimes you can follow along on your phone. Go to my website and scroll around and you'll find that slides that go with this presentation. But John Parker was an African-American abolitionist, along with Elijah Anderson, worked out of Ripley, Ohio. Parker purchased his freedom in 1845 and later became a foundry owner. These two men brought 20 to 30 slaves at a time out of Kentucky. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. God's going to trouble the water. When you escape and attempting to connect to the next relay point on the railroad, you had to make sure you wade through water to throw the bloodhounds off your scent. When an escape was made, you had to be clever and clandestine when you ran. A slave was valuable property, and a slave owner had paid a lot of money for an escapee's return. With the protection of the Fugitive Slave Law and then the Fugitive Slave Act, it was a lucrative business to catch runaway slaves and return them to their owner. People would use bloodhounds to gather the scent of an escapee, but when a person walks through water, their scent dissipates and makes it difficult for the dogs to find it. The next piece I'll perform will be Deep River, but I'd like to acknowledge another person on the railroad. William Still was born in 1821 as a free person in New Jersey. Mostly self-educated, he became one of the most successful businessmen in Philadelphia and a major go-to person on the railroad. He was one of those that helped Henry Box Brown out of his packing crate. Mr. Brown was a slave that had himself nailed shut inside of a box and shipped north to the Philadelphia anti-slavery office. With some water, biscuits, 27 hours later, he reached freedom, although part of the time he spent in transport upside down. The next is a spiritual medley. Let My People Go, and Michael, row your boat ashore. What William Stoll said about Harriet Tubman, her like is probable was never known before or since, he would write. A woman of no pretensions, indeed a more ordinary specimen of humanity, could hardly be found among the most unfortunate farmhands of the South. But yet in point of courage, shrewdness, disinterested exertions to rescue her fellow men, by making personal visits to Maryland among the slaves, she was without her equal. Tubman was a conductor, and she had serious respect for her courage and determination. Her nickname was Moses, and in a 15-year period, she made 19 trips and transported approximately 300 slaves from the South to the North into free states. She was no nonsense, crude talking, and carried a pistol. If someone wanted to give up, she would hold a gun toward their head and discourage them from doing so. You'll be free or die a slave. She or anyone she transported were never captured. Go Down Moses adopts a biblical story of Moses from the book of Exodus, and she would sing this song to alert, with these lyrics, to alert her escapees of immediate danger. Michael, row your boat ashore isn't really a coded spiritual, but if you want to sing along when you get there, that's okay. Sorry, this is rosin, and you have to do this from time to time. For those interested, it's tree sap that's designed for the bow hair on each musical instrument. And with the bass hair, with the amount of hair it has, it takes a little bit more than normal. Thank you very much. Not all attempts were successful. And those that didn't make it, the punishment was often harsh. And even those that did, they were still under the threat of the Fugitive Slave Act. If you were captured in a free state, you could be forced back into slavery. Charles Ball was born a slave and escaped several times throughout his life. He had to endure escaping to come home and find that his wife and child, who were legally free, had been sold into slavery. Couldn't hear nobody pray. Couldn't hear nobody pray. Way down yonder by myself, couldn't hear nobody pray. Couldn't hear nobody pray. Couldn't hear nobody pray. In the valley, on my knees, couldn't hear nobody pray. Couldn't hear nobody pray. Couldn't hear nobody pray. Way down yonder, by myself, couldn't hear nobody pray. Couldn't hear nobody pray. Couldn't hear nobody pray. Chilly waters in the Jordan, couldn't hear nobody pray. Couldn't hear nobody pray. Couldn't hear nobody pray. Crossing over, into Canaan, couldn't hear nobody pray. Couldn't hear nobody pray. Couldn't hear nobody pray. Way down yonder, by myself, couldn't hear. Couldn't hear. Couldn't hear. Couldn't hear. The lyric meaning was about an attempt that failed, a failed attempt meant a return to slavery and a financial reward to the bounty hunter. Punishment was harsh: chains, whipping, and in certain instances, death. Freedom was most important to a slave, and to those that were honest to the values in which this country is based upon, slavery is not an option. However, it did take a war, the Civil War, to change the way of life for many. You'll be able to figure out the name of this last song I'll perform. The melody came to me when I was leaving a particularly burdensome situation. Please appreciate your freedom and remember that many gave their lives so that you can be free. This bass came from the Bronx and now it's in New England. It's not adjusting well. Sorry.
are at the Masters of Sonic Liberation Series, number 27, second set on February 26, 2026 at Holyoke Media, downtown Holyoke, Massachusetts. I'm Honey Kane, your host, and I'll play later. And next, well, the truth is I found these guys in a record store, and they are amazing and kind of weird. And this one's so full of energy. My God, it's like the whole stage is vibrating. Anyway, I bring you Rick Royer, G. Lucas Crane. We call him Lucas, not G. All right. And they are Stuttering Words. Here we go.
G. I don't know if you wanted to. First, I do want to apologize first and foremost that Hill Green, that was fantastic, and we're not as good. And we, in terms of, we don't play any instruments, we don't have any talent so far to speak of, but we do. So what I did do is I brought these hats, and maybe that will give us a little bit of an edge in a different way, since we don't exactly have the talent. And what, because we have the hats, and we think that'll kind of give us the edge, and maybe even over everyone else on the bill. And we will, if you're watching over at bit.ly/Sonic Liberation _YouTube or _Facebook, you can vote now for your favorite act. And we hope you will notice our hats. These aren't good hats. We're not wearing the hats at all. We're not wearing the hats at all because we're not wearing them genuinely, earnestness, earnestness, earnestly, earnestness, 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 earnestness. And when you repeat the word earnestness several times, earnestness, 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 it doesn't make it more earnest. As a matter of fact, it makes it less earnest every time you talk and say the word earnestness, 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 earnestness. We're not wearing the hats. We're not wearing the hats. We're not wearing the hats because we think they're nice. We're not wearing the hats because we think they're funny. We're not wearing the hats because we think they're fashionable or cool. Hi. We're not wearing the hats at all. We're only wearing the hats because we think they're going to give us the edge. Vote now, bit.ly/YouTube Sonic Liberation, earnestness, 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 snort, 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 snort. G is also a drug. If any of you remember G, maybe G is a bit of a drug that's before your time if you're young, or your time when you're old, because it stood for what? G, was it GHT or GHB? It was kind of an ecstasy. Liquid ecstasy was another word for it. They also got, dudes, I got the D, I got the G. You got the G. You can only get it from Taiwanese chemists nowadays in Stockholm. But what will happen to you if you take the G and you snort, snort, snort. You take the G and you snort, snort, snort. You take the G and you snort, 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 snort. You take the G and you snort, snort, snort. And that's the G in G. Lucas Crane. And the winner, so I will say a couple things about this meat. One, we only brought this meat because I wanted to prove a point, and that point is, and that point is, and I went to the Big Y. The Big Y. Hey! How many of you have heard of the Big Y? It's a grocery store. It's about 45. Boo! Boo! Yeah. Well, let's cut the music off entirely. Because what we like to do when we're being serious is we like to cut the music off so that it sounds more real. Because this part is a true story. We were a little late getting here to set up because we stopped in the Big Y about 45 minutes from here. I'm not sure where it was. Maybe Springfield? I don't know. And I got off the 90. And the Big Y, if you're familiar with it, you have to take this sort of you veer right off the 90 to get onto it. And I don't know where I am. I've never been to this area before. So I didn't realize it was a right veer instead of a right turn. So I made it really late, and I cut someone off by accident. And I was like, eee. And so we went to the Big Y. So we needed to get Lucas a spicy chicken burger. And I went to the bathroom. This is serious. And the dude attacked me that I had cut off. I didn't know it. We didn't know it, but he had followed us into the Big Y parking lot. And when I was walking into the bathroom, he followed me and got up behind me. And he was like 65, 70, and maybe a little crazy. And he tried to push my face like this, into the face. And I pushed him back. And I tried to hold him into the bathroom while calling someone from customer service, like those. And we called the cops. And I wanted to buy some meat so that I could prove to you with the Big Y sticker that this story is true. Sir, can you tell me, is this real meat from the Big Y? Oh, you are correct. That was a big lie. We were late because Lucas wanted a spicy chicken burger. But what this meat is, option number 2 is, this is the prize the winner gets. Who has the best set tonight? You vote in this camera here, in this camera there, in this camera everywhere. You vote for the best set. Who's the best tonight? Who's wearing the craziest hats? Winner gets the meat. No hat, no meat. No hat, no meat. No hat, no meat. No hat, no meat. No hat, then no meat. You got no hat, you got no meat. No hat, no meat. No hat, no meat. No hat, no hat. I'm getting something. I'm getting something from. 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 I'm getting something from this side of the room. I'm feeling that maybe someone. I'm getting a feeling. I'm getting the feeling that someone over here has a cat. I get a sense that I've got Bumbleclot that maybe you have a cat. Am I correct? You have a cat. See? Ding, bingo, ding dong, honk honk. Yes, we do. We have a cat, and I have a feeling that you have a cat. You have a cat that maybe it's not a kitten. Am I correct? It's not a kitten. No. What? No kittens. No kit. There. At least one of these cats is an older cat. Am I right? That's right. Right. So I was right. Bingo, ding dong, honk honk, wing ring, honk, ding dong, honk, fuck, posy pants, fuck, ding dong, boing, boing, ding dong, fuck, honk honk, posy pants. Can I say that here? Posy pants. Can I say posy pants? Fuck, honk honk, posy pants. Boom, 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 fuck, boom, boom, fuck, posy pants, honk honk. Can I say that here? Posy pants. Can I drag it on the ding dong wagon on a Harley Jane tree, bringing and dragging you on a Harley Davidson? Maybe with a little bit of gear, no butt because I left it on the pants. No butt because I left my pants on the butt. I'm right on the beach. No butt because I'm on the beach. I got no beach because I'm on the bike. I'm on the bike and I left my butt. I left my butt in the buck seat. I left my butt in the bike seat. I left my bike in the buck seat. I left my posy pants. Can I say fuck, posy, cozy pants? Can I say go? Can I say go? Can I say go? Snorting. She snort. Fuck, One of your cats, at least one of your cats, has some dental issues. Good breath. Am I right? Good breath. One of your cats likes minty dental bimp treats, right? Little minty bimple dental bimp treats like cinnamon snorly hot tamale forts, cooker. When I shoved him, I swear to God. I punched. Bundle. Yes. I'm also getting a feeling on this side of the room. Someone over here plays for the San Francisco 49ers. Am I correct? So are you Brock Purdy? Are you Brock Purdy? Are you Brock Purdy? Are you Brock Purdy? Are you Brock Purdy from the San Francisco 49ers? Sometimes I'm not correct. You know? We can't get them all right. Oh, sorry. And that's what this next song is about. The song is about getting it wrong. Most of the time, except for the fact that Bonnie has a cat.
That's my foot! Huh? What, me? No, that's my foot! That's my foot! That's not my foot! That's not my foot!
of us will leave with the meat. Well, that was fun. That was just a little bit of a joke. We don't usually play music like that. We usually just we usually do beatboxing at weddings and for blasting at various sort of diggly channeled multiple inflex modes, where you can usually find there's a couple of symptoms that you can usually have when when my wife is fucking this guy Bill, and I'm like, okay, I'll be there and I can see where there's this going. That Bill. I can work it. I can be back relaxed. I can be relaxed. Because of course that's so cool. You guys want to hear me beatbox? Oh, okay, fine. Boo! What? Boo! I'll just do some beatboxing. Boo! Boo! Why you don't want me to boo? Boo! 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 Oh, come on! I'm good, I swear. Boo! 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 Hey, we should trade. We should trade spaces. You do this part. You do this part. No, you come over here. I'll go over here. I know how to do it. He was terrible, this show, wasn't he, guys? He didn't know how to beatbox like the pros. Chorby chub. You know what I want to do is I want to chorby chub. You know what I want to do? I want to get out there and I want to little bit. You know what I want to do? I want to get out there and I want to do a little chorby chubbing. I want to get out there and do a little bit of chorby chubbing. I want to get up in your face, do a little chorby chubbing. Tell you what I'm all about in my hat, what he's all about in his hat, because this hat gives me an edge, gives us an edge. Yo, yeah, you can play instruments, you can play drums. I bet someone's going to play the drums, but are they going to be wearing a hat? I don't think so. Chubba, hubba, hubby chubba, check. Is this still on? Chubba, hubba, is this still on? Check. Chubba, hubba, check. Chubba, hubba, this is the edge. Without the edge, this is the edge. Without the edge, this is the edge. Without the edge, got no hat, got no meat. Got no hat, you got no meat. That's the way it's gotta be. You gotta throw the wires on the legs. You gotta take your pants off and go to the back. You gotta take your pants all the way down when you're going to the bathroom. You gotta take your pants all the way off when you gotta go to the bathroom. If you gotta go to the bathroom, gotta take your pants all the way off. Get them all down, leave your shirt on, stand up straight, take a thing out, then go to the bathroom on that meat. Go to the bathroom on that meat. No. That was just a little bit much. But what we would like to do is I'm gonna just end with a little song and then we'll do some dancing. This has been a lot of fun, but I didn't appreciate the fact that you guys booed me when I tried to do my beatboxing. That's uncool. This guy knew what G was because he's all about it. But we're gonna end the set we're gonna cut the set short because frankly I didn't appreciate the way that you booed me when I tried to do my heavenly back bend, twirl swing, and quarter round beefcake beatboxing routine that I like to do at weddings and at churches and at steeples and at divorces. But here we go with our final song. It's a little song that we like to call Enjoy the Beat. Chris Christopherson once stood on my balcony and ripped a towel in half. And that's the name of this song. And that's... That's a little bit of the beatboxing that I like to do, but I only do it in Canada because my license was revoked to do beatboxing in the United States, in Panama, and the Pacific Islanders. National headline news. Headline news when all it is they're like celebrities with really long faces, and then they have to guess, is that Antonin Artaud or did I just rip an envelope in half? Is that Antonin Artaud or did I just put an envelope in the mail and send it to my best friend who has one side of the face really big, one side of the face really small, one side of the face really big, one side of the face really small. I am not your sugar daddy. I'll be your aspartame daddy. No hat, no meat. good, didn't it? Just went to a few places, didn't we? Well, I hope you enjoyed going to the places that we went to. The Big Y. Bonnie's Cat House. Candlestick Park. The home of the San Fran 49ers. And we also went to a little place that we like to call Turnal Top Kurt Table for Bullets Kitzels Herbert hits Hogarth's Hogarth's Kitchen, which is where we'll be playing next if you want to come out. And by the way, yeah, in like an hour we'll be playing up at Hogarth's Kitchen, doing a little beatboxing dance routine. And just a note for Bonnie or whoever does the editing of the video, you could go ahead and put our set way at the end. We don't have to follow Hild. You could actually have all the sets and then the credits roll and then like 8 minutes of nothing, and then it will be like a hidden track, and then you can have our set. Mute. Fuzzy. Sounds good. All right, folks. To end it, I'm just going to say one word. Chugga. Good night.
Masters of Sonic Liberation series number 27. Yeah, thank you. And here we are at Holyoke Media in downtown Holyoke, Massachusetts. I'm Bonnie Kane. Scott McPherson is on technical, and it is Thursday, February 26, 2026. That's a lot of sixes. Okay. And now for a different dimension, we have Federico Balducci.
The bird was perched upon a pole. The bird was perched upon a pole. Over 100 years ago, this man's passionate interest in sound led him to specialize in teaching the deaf and dumb and people with defective speech. This passionate interest also led him, among another, recognizable words. The telephone had arrived.
As a consequence of Mr. Bell's ingenuity and diligence, it is now possible to speak to people along an electric wire.
The machine is quite safe and is suitable for ladies and even children.
From the report, it seems that with such instruments in every corner of the country, we shall never have to leave our houses and yet be able to continue with our daily business.
Amazing as it sounds, conversation can be carried on with ease and privacy without ever having to leave your own home.
Is on the user of the telephone or the radio or television. The effect is always a hidden ground. It's never part of the figure. The thing you see is figure. The thing that affects you is ground. Well, that's what I mean by the medium is the message. The medium is hidden. The message is obvious. But the real effect comes from the hidden ground. Not from the content. Not from the figure. It comes from the ground, which is never noticed. Nobody in the history of the telephone has ever mentioned that on the telephone you do not have a physical body. There's a recent book by Ithiel de Sola somebody. Ithiel de Sola Pool. A ridiculous name. And a ridiculous book. Because it's called The Social Effect or Impact of the Telephone, and about which he knows nothing. I mean, a whole group of people did this study. The social impact of the telephone. They didn't know what an effect was. By which I think you mean that they did studies of the number of people using telephones, the number of messages, what they use them for, what they use, which you feel is not, they never, the deepest level of effect. They never noticed the effects at all. But they did notice the inputs. For example, they noticed the fact that the telephone was at first used for servants, intercom inside big homes. A new medium is always used at first for the old functions. This is true of the computer, it's true of the Xerox, it's true of the motor car. True of any medium whatever is used always at first for the old function. There's also an interesting example, as you yourself have pointed out, in the Gutenberg galaxy, which at one time we regarded as perhaps the best work he had done. What do you feel about that? Well, I'm parenthetical. I think it's still basic. The Gutenberg galaxy, Martian, the effects of one of the interesting things apropos of your observation that the new medium always does what the old medium was doing is that the first designers of type, designed handwriting to be put into mechanical form. Why not? It's a natural thing that I don't have it with me, but there's an advertisement for the Xerox shows a couple of monks who are engaged in making manuscripts, and they're so delighted to have Xerox. It speeds up their work so much. It's been an ad on television in the United States, Marshall, for hell, I know, for some boy, but this was in the New York, and I tore it out. But at first, any new medium is at first used for the old functions. And we might come back for a moment to what do you think the effect Are you inviting in an okay response? Oh, yeah. Okay, a hunch. Yeah, complete. The observation is it would be depersonalization. It's, well, you are there. The sender is set. By the way, on all electric media, the sender is set. That is the message. You are the message. They send you. On the telephone, you are sent. And to the person to whom you are speaking, they are sent to you. The sender is sent. Also, as you say, you lose your identity. You're nobody. The person who is sent is nobody. Why is the person who writes somebody has a greater sense of identification than the person who's talking on the telephone? Why? Hardware. Why? Hardware can take Panini and courier sending this missive to another part of somewhere else. I mean, it's not a transient, it's not an instant thing. Okay, it's not. It's the electric is almost instantaneous. There's no body. That's why you don't have a body. Instantaneous communication is minus the body. So that began with the telegraph. The telegraph also had that built-in dimension of the instantaneous, and it completely transformed news and information. The mere speed. Didn't matter what was written, the fact that it went at the speed of light transformed everything. It caused the Civil War. Hidden ground of the American Civil War was no historian knows this. Read a book by Kenneth Stanley on the causes of the American Civil War, and you'll find no mention of the telegraph anywhere. The telegraph is acoustic, not visual. At the speed of light, the ear comes into play. It's not the eye. Let me grab on to another point to be sure that we've gotten it. What you're saying is that with the telegraph, that the major message is the speed of communication. And that very speed, as contrasted with writing a letter and sending it by horseback, or however we do it these days, it's going to get slower than horseback. But the major message is the speed with which information is sent and what that does to social relationships in the human psyche, regardless of the content of this is increasingly true of news. Under TV conditions, the content is of no importance. It's all fantasy. At the speed of light, all hardware does is translate into fantasy. It's inner trip. However, that's taking quite a leap forward. Let's notice that when you move the speed of light on the telephone, you do not have a private identity. And when you don't have a private identity, or rather when you don't have a body, you don't have an actual home. If gravity has no control over you at the speed of light, you are suddenly outside of the natural scheme of things. You're a superman. This does all sorts of things to the human psychology. Completely transforms people. It's some completely hidden ground. And probably the content, what we say on the phone, couldn't matter less. This transformation, complete transformation of the user, is never mentioned in all the literature on the telephone. Not a word about it. Because it's hidden. The effect of writing, the effect, I'll talk about that sometime today, the effect of printing, Gutenberg Galaxy is mainly about the effect of printing. about 48 letters to be equivalent to the necessary sounds to do a good spelling job. There are other methods of writing, pictographic writing, for example, where the writing attempts, to show a tree and is gradually reduced in more abstract form, or ideograms in which arbitrary in Chinese, honesty is the figure of a man standing, physically standing beside his work. That means honesty. A man stands by his word, figure ground. So you're saying that the phonetic element, the one which derives from speech, is the element which should be concentrated on when you're thinking about major effects of writing. One, goes when you translate ground south into south. You pull out the physical ground in the situation on your left only with figure. Instead of having a gestalt of figure and ground, writing leaves you only with figure. It is an extremely abstract process. You see, the letters in the phonetic alphabet are only, as I say, ablative. It's not even singing, it's ablative. These meaningless sounds enable you to translate any language, doesn't matter what language, into those sounds, meaningless sounds. If the letters have any meaning at all, you can't translate them. But you have to have this neutral, abstract, meaningless setting in figures as a way of translating sounds into sight. And what you do is you pull the ground out from the gestalt and then let it fall into the figure. Okay, the result of having a figure without a ground is neutral, is logical. What is called logical is pulling out the ground from under the fingers and tying the figures together in tight patterns. Began with the alphabet in Parmenides and onwards in the creature. It is logically logic. Logic is figure without ground. Is that the same as what Proust is saying when you say figure without ground? Is that what Proust is saying about abstract, those arbitrary illustrations that you see when you're on the telephone, they're totally abstract. You are image without a body. That is figure without ground. In your case, the way you do you are without a body. You make images now, ideas. Your ideas, real things, what you and I are talking here together. This does not have the same quality as if we were talking on the telephone, because we have figure ground here. Okay. And the interplay is between figure and ground, which is called gestalt. Incidentally, apropos the hemispheres of the brain, the right hemisphere is the gestalt side of the brain, the figure ground side. The left hemisphere is the figure without ground, abstract. There is one side of the brain which is able to perform with non-gestalt, abstract figure minus ground. That is called
again for the concluding climactic set of the evening from Kane Loggia Hypothesis. That John Loggia over there. Come on, let's talk about that. Yeah. I'm Bonnie Kane. There you go. And all this is because I want to go to shows, so I'm making shows I want to go to, and I get to play them, and you get to be here, and we get to play them, and, you know, we make it a better world, a little happiness, and that's all right. So, here we are. It's Masters of Sonic Liberation, number 27 in the series, February 26, 2026. We're at Holyoke Media in downtown Holyoke, Massachusetts, and Scott McPherson is doing all the tech stuff for you. And now to Kane Loggia Hypothesis. I always want you to come to my shows. Oh, maybe that's what I'll do. I'll have like a little track and just play it. That's the modern way, right? Is the thirsty business up here? Sonic Liberation number 27 is now concluded for the evening and leaves you hoping you'll fend well for the next month and come back. So, I'm Bonnie Kane. This was Kane Logia Hypothesis. Oh, God, we had Stuttering Words. We had Federico Balducci, and we had Hill Green tonight. Thank you. You are amazing. And Masters of Sonic Liberation, February 26, 2026. We're here at Holyoke Media. Scott McPherson has been doing all this tech stuff. And we love you. See you in the future. Okay, bye. Have a good evening.